right. Welcome everybody to the Unnormalized podcast. This is your host Frankie A, and I'm coming to you from the Bowtie Theater in Red Bank, New Jersey, with the Friday Night Special players for doing Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is one of my favorite cult classic movies ever. And if you've never seen it in the theaters with a live cast, you gotta go out and check it out. So guys, welcome to the Unnormalized podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Awesome. Why don't you go around and introduce yourselves, let everybody know who you are?
Sure. I'm Steve. I'm the technical director.
Awesome.
I'm Kat. I'm the performance and casting director.
I'm Ryan. I run pretty much the business of the cast. So.
Awesome. So, what Rocky Horror is such a big. It's like a lifestyle for people.
Sure.
Yes.
It's for us.
Yeah, exactly. So, how did you guys
Tattoo on my
get
hands.
how did you guys get into all this stuff?
Oh man, who wants to go first?
My mom did Rocky. My mom did Rocky Horror in New York.
Really?
And then, yes. And I went my first time to see the Friday Night Specials Cast in Aberdeen for my girlfriend at the time's birthday, her 16th birthday. So I went for the first time, and then I went every single Friday until I joined cast, and now I still go every single Friday.
There it is.
And there it is.
So, how long have you been with the cast?
7 years.
7 years. Wow.
Yeah.
So I first saw it when I was 11 or 12. My mom took me. It was like a fundraiser her friend was doing.
Yeah.
They did the Rocky Horror show, and it's like summer, and she wakes me up. She's like, "We gotta go." I'm like, "It's almost midnight." She's like, "We're running late. We gotta go." And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And then so we get there, and it's a show. We're in the front row, and the person playing Dr. Frankenfurter sat on my mom's lap and draped his legs across me and my brother.
Nice.
And my mom said that she looked at me in my face. She's like, "Oh no, this isn't going to be the end of that."
Yeah.
So then I started coming to see FNS, and then again came every single Friday until they finally let me join. It took a couple tries because I was too young at the time.
Yeah.
And here I am now.
Awesome.
I had a friend who introduced me to the movie when I was probably going into high school. He had started going regularly, then joined the cast in Woodbridge at the time.
Okay.
That's where we came from. And I went once, found it terrifying but intriguing. Said, well, maybe I'll go back again, maybe I won't. And then went again later, and then got to a streak where I kind of was going through some shit, so it was good to do something every week. Went every week. From there, they're like, hey, you're here enough. You're Anthony's friend. Come join cast. And I did. Seen the show from Woodbridge to Edison to Aberdeen, now to here. And it's going to be 18 years,
Wow.
November 1st.
18
Double me.
years.
I'm at 9.5.
18 years.
Wow. So you guys have been doing this for a really long time. So what is the experience like for you guys, or what is your mission when you're doing it for 7 years to keep the show live and fresh and current and wanting those people that come every Friday to keep coming back?
Yeah, my mission is to give a kid the same experience I had.
Yeah.
When I first came. So that's my job now. So I owe my life to just making sure that weird high school kids, weird college kids, weird adults have a place to go every Friday and have a community around them.
Awesome.
And have fun.
Yeah, same thing. It's it's that sense of community, but it's also just and for lack of a better word, it really just is a safe space for people. When you're that weird adult and you can't go to the bar and make friends, but you can go to Rocky and it's a safe space for you to be we have people that come all the time by themselves.
Yeah.
They don't even have friends to come to the show with them. So it's it's that kind of space for people.
Because it's almost like a family.
Yeah.
I mean, the cast definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it morphs, what it means to you, it morphs over time. I mean, at first it starts out, I'm just a kid, I want to have fun, do whatever the hell I want. And then when you get more involved, you realize that this thing has friggin' meaning to people. I mean, of course it has meaning to us, but other people, when you have people that reach out to you and say things that you wouldn't believe, this thing saved my life, and you're like,
Yeah.
wow. People tell us about how they found their identity here, how they felt comfortable to come out, to be this, to be that, because Rocky's always been accepting of everybody, unless you're an objectively bad group. that everyone can go, yes, they're in that class. We accept everybody, whatever weird shit you're into. That's kind of, we've always been pretty cool with it. It's just we draw the line when you start hurting people.
and I mean, you guys probably know a little bit about the whole history of Rocky Horror than I do, from just being like a Uber fan. But I believe this movie came out in the 70s?
75. It just turned 44 a few weeks ago.
So when you think about it, the film itself was like groundbreaking because they were talking about things that were at that time like taboo.
Yeah.
Okay, you really didn't see many transvestites on the big screen or that big of a character in that role. So I think it was like ahead of its time.
Yeah. I mean, it was a part of the sexual revolution. I mean, Richard O'Brien wrote the play in '73 and debuted it in London. And and then in '74 the play came to LA. Mm-hmm. It was a huge success in LA. Came to New York, it flopped. And then the movie had really no success here. Then again, they didn't market it to anyone. That was the problem. And once people started discovering it, it really just became about, I think, discovery and freedom to people. I mean, it still is, but I mean, back then, things were still kind of stuffy in the 70s.
Yeah. So a lot of the topics that you're talking about, even like you said, the sexual revolution is beyond the, whole having a transvestite in the main character, but some of the themes that we're talking about in Rocky Horror are very sexual in nature, very kind of like the deviant side of things.
Fun side.
Yes, the fun side, the dark side of stuff. So, and I'm drawn to stuff like that. So, we were talking about what we do in our 9 to 5. So it's very,
it's
intriguing to me to see. Yeah, it's definitely not this. So, but I'm intrigued. Yeah. So that's a good question. So, like, what do you guys do for day jobs?
I'm a teacher.
Okay, cool.
So I teach 5th grade, and I've been doing it for 5 years. And it's a very interesting contrast from what I do during the day to what I do at night.
Absolutely. I like that.
I pretty much do the same thing. I'm a touring lighting designer.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I do lights for work, and then I come here and I do more lights.
Awesome.
You just do lights in your underwear
here. In your sleep.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm a licensed mental health professional. So,
that makes sense.
So, I deal with people all day.
But it probably lends to the character. A lot.
It does a lot of interesting things. It gives me a lot of perspective on a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, I try not to diagnose while I'm standing up there, but
Yeah. But
he's only diagnosed me once.
He diagnosed me with diarrhea.
Yeah. Still hasn't cured.
Well, I was just gonna say, I hope it's cured by now.
Nah, he's gonna have to take a break.
No, I actually do. I'm in a similar line of work, so I'm always intrigued about like the darker side of things and life and the psyche and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of the concepts that are talked about in Rocky Horror are things that I think, like, even though they were maybe taboo back then, are so relevant today, far beyond like gender and all that kind of stuff. Just seeing that, especially like you have like the whole concepts that are out now, like about bullying, and you as a teacher, you see all that kind of stuff. So so you guys started this a fairly long time ago. Do you see a younger generation starting to kind of, because it's always been
and
like
we count
younger,
on it. We count on it. Without that, nobody would be doing this anywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we count on that.
And do you still get some of like the die-hard people
Absolutely.
from like?
Yes, and they all try to tell us how we're doing it wrong.
They're like, there's not enough cocaine. We're like, sorry.
I go, you stop getting free cocaine on entrance in like 89.
It doesn't come in the prop bags.
It doesn't come anymore. The price went up. We can't offer it.
It's 2019. We're not doing coke anymore.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with Rocky Horror, just like anything people like, is they always think whoever's doing it now is fucking it up.
Yeah.
the Joker came out.
Are we allowed to curse on this?
Oh yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
The Joker came out. They're fucking it up. This guy's playing Batman. He's ruining it. Oh, we always hear it's not what it used to be. Neither is the world. Neither is the price of milk.
Yeah.
The price of gas. Everything has changed. We change what?
So no cocaine.
Inflation has stopped.
Go back to the car.
It's inflation, man. But what happened is, it's just everything changes, and we roll with it.
Yeah.
That's how you survive with anything. You roll with the times. We adapt. The whole life is adapt or die, and in a business like this, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So when people cry about that, it's just
Yeah. But that's the beauty of, I think, what.
Yeah, and they're the minority, by the way.
Yeah,
they're
and
the minority.
I think that's the beauty of what Rocky Horror does over time. I mean, I remember when I saw it from the first time. At first, I was like, "What the fuck am I watching?"
Yeah, I had a similar experience.
And
So did my dad.
And like, what's weird is I can't even tell you the first time like how I felt into. I don't know if it was just on and I started watching it and was automatically intrigued by it because my parents are not like Rocky Horror people. And,
neither am I.
yes, so I can't even tell you, but it was like I watched it and then immediately had to like watch it again and watch it again and watch it again. And I feel like every time I watch it, even now, probably I've seen it like a million times, like I always will pick something out that I probably didn't notice from the times before, even though like I can kind of know lines and stuff like that.
Yeah, I still do it with Star Wars too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Sure.
But so what, like the whole premise of this show is the Unnormalized podcast, and you probably can't get any more unnormalized than being in the cast of Rocky Horror. Or
yes,
what?
It's pretty normal,
yeah. Well, maybe now.
Not
yeah,
to everybody, but yeah.
Yeah. So, like, what does that whole? How does that kind of go into maybe your own thoughts about society and life, and how a film or a show like this is really so important to stay on that message where, in my field, everyone tries to chase the normal, and what I do as part of my job is to tell people like, fuck that, chase your own, make your own a normalized life. You don't have to follow convention.
Sure.
You don't have to follow the beaten path or what society is telling you to do. So, like, how do you guys take that message or hope people take away that message when they leave the theater after they see the show?
Well, I think one thing that I've always pulled out of it, which is obviously a little different from them, is I feel like Rocky Horror is very empowering for women because it shows you have 3 female characters that are owning their sexuality at one point. And you see Janet go through that whole like sexual revolution. Like she starts it where it's like, I'm not supposed to do this, like, and then she's
she
like,
does.
and then she tries it, and then she's like, but wait, I actually really like this, and then it's like she starts to like own it. And so as a woman, it's like I saw this before, I became someone who's having sex. So it's like it's just very empowering where it's like, okay, like here's 3 women that are all like become very sure of themselves and like who they are as sexual beings. And it's like, especially thinking at the time that it came out, like women didn't have sex in the 70s, like so it's like that's something that I feel like I would want young women or women any time in their life to like see that and like see like it's okay to want to be a sexual being, like there's nothing wrong with it, and like here's 3 fabulous women that are showing you that that's the case. So that's one thing that always stood out for me.
Oh man, I mean, Rocky really is to everybody whatever they want it to be. That's one of the things that's kind of good with it. I mean, people always try to say it's something it's not, but that's for religion too. Yeah. I mean, it really encourages you to be whoever you want to be. I mean, it's cliche at this point, but it's just and that's just the way. That's just the way we market it. I mean, it's really whatever the hell you want to be. I mean, we try not to box anybody into any roles, and we roll with the times. We pride ourselves in being able to do that. It's hard. I mean, I'm getting older, so it's hard to roll with the way things are. I slip up all the time. it's hard being woke in the year 2019 when you're getting older. It's just
who the fuck are you telling?
Exactly. I deal with it all the time. So and we try our best to, be a place for anybody who needs it. Anybody who needs a place. It's like I had a friend years ago who used to say, she'll get pissed because she thinks she owns this, but she said it. Like, it's cheers for freaks. That's what she used to say. Yeah. That's what she used to say. Yeah. She tried to trademark it, but I think Cheers had a problem with it. So.
Yeah.
John Rassenberg on that.
But like, I totally agree with that, because there's something comforting probably to a large demographic of people that are watching it for the first time and not seeing, even like stuff with Hollywood. I mean, we're seeing a little bit more of, gender equality and different faces carrying different characters and main characters and stuff. But there is something about the Rocky Horror film, and even watching it live. I mean, the film is great, but having a live cast there's nothing like it. I mean, it just takes, if you like the movie,
right,
or if you've seen the play originally, I mean, it would probably be like the only thing that would equate that,
one thing we say is watching at home is just masturbation.
Nice.
Because it's
nice.
I mean, we've been named for. We call it the full Rocky Horror experience. It's not just the movie. It's everything, and the experience starts when you walk up to the door. Yeah. That's when it starts. That's when the engagement starts. That's when you're in a different realm. It's everything. It's the lights. It's the sound. It's the people. It's the music. It's the crap before. It's the virgins. It's the shouting, the AP, the throwing shit, the movie with the cast. It's the whole thing. It's the whole. It's a package.
Yeah.
So it's
like, the way I kind of look at it is like, before they used to start doing like all like the 4D shit, like where they were squirting like people, like now like you go to Disney or you go to like Universal and that's like the
fire and water,
the big thing now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, let's make the seats rattle and shoot some air at them.
Yeah.
But like Rocky Horror casts were doing it back then, making it like a full immersive experience for people, and it's been that way for like,
we've been squirting on people for years.
Still.
Yeah, I saw you.
Yeah,
you had it.
I set it up that,
the splash zone stops somewhere around the 14th row, I think, depending on what night it is.
Depending on how far from the row.
I mean, Halloween it goes to the wall, but if you feel good about yourself, you got that out. Shooting ropes over there. What was I gonna say?
We were talking about like fully immersive experiences.
Yeah, it's immersive in every way. So immersive that some people are overwhelmed by it.
Yeah. I can see that.
I've told people who have anxiety, it's like, ground yourself before you come in, because if you fancy yourself, if you fancy someone with some type of issues with panic or intense anxiety, I wouldn't recommend the concerts or large crowds or state fairs, and I would not recommend Rocky Horror unless
we
practice some coping skills beforehand, and we develop those.
Tell the youngsters out there about
we fill that wellness toolbox. Maybe develop a rap plan, and.
Oh wait, they're not laughing, but I'm laughing.
Yeah,
I know
I feel like I'm in a therapy session.
You are.
I just left one. So.
No, I think we've talked about this before.
So because I've had people, it's overwhelming. It's a lot of stimuli.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to a gay club a few months ago, and it was a lot of stimuli for me.
Was that when we all went out?
Yeah, it was a lot happening. There was a lot of. It was just a lot of lights and sound. I mean, I'm like, God, there's too much happening. Where do I put my eyes? And it was a lot. It was like I felt like a fucking cat with a laser pointer.
Tell us how you feel about that.
It was a lot of stimuli. I was overstimulated.
Did that beat the gay bar hot dog too?
Yeah, I had a gay bar hot dog. It's pretty good. There's a guy cooking hot dogs.
I don't think we have enough time on this podcast for me to make all the jokes.
You
gave me a lot of ammo.
Hashtag gay bar hot dog.
Best hashtag of the day.
It was good. The guy made a good dog. I mean, he was wearing wearing like one of those European Speedos that go up to his neck, but if I didn't find a pube, I was good. So,
yeah, anytime you can't, you don't find a pube.
Yeah.
People pay extra for that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Maybe them. So anyway.
Yeah, so, I mean, no, but that's, it could be very intense, especially for somebody that has no idea what they're walking into, what they're watching. Because I find that, like, a lot of the times it's usually someone like myself who meets somebody and says they've never witnessed or watched Rocky Horror, and I'm like, oh, fucking, I'm taking you. And that's actually what I did like 2 years ago. My son has never seen Rocky Horror, never watched the movie, so I dragged him to a midnight showing in the city and was like, well, if you're gonna watch it for the first time, this is how you're gonna watch it. And to see the look on his face, and at first it was like that look of like shock and awe, like, where the fuck? First of all, like, my parents have me out. It's like after midnight, and it's like,
you're my legal guardian. What are you doing to me?
Yeah, and then to watch like his like journey, like I kept like looking at him periodically, and it went from like a look of like what the fuck to like pure enjoyment.
We get parents who bring kids of all ranges, and sometimes I'll walk outside and I'll see a young kid and I'll go to the mom and I'll be like, listen, I know you think you know some stuff. I go, but hear me out. We're fucking terrible. I go, when I mean terrible, I mean our mouths are filthy, the show is provocative, and I cannot control whatever the weirdos in the audience scream. I go, I want you to know that. I go, because I don't want to. I don't want an angry email tomorrow. I go, there's a disclaimer on the door, the disclaimer in the lobby. There's one on the screen. I mention it. I go, this is offensive to some people. I go, you got to be able to hang, because I don't want to. It's the rated R. Yeah. It's a 75 rated R, but it's rated R.
Because look at the moms are like, fuck yeah!
I go, the movie's rated R, and the performance is kind of unrated. Of course, we don't do any. There's no nudity. There's nothing illegal at all. Of course, I mean, we're decent humans, but within the realm of staying out of jail. But I warn people all the time, and sometimes they're like, okay. And there's been times in the past, I remember we've had to beg people to take their kids home. Like, this child is 7. Yeah. They should not be here. And I've had the manager be like, I'm begging you, take the kid home. They're like, we don't want to be responsible for this. And it's worked once or twice because, listen, there is an age you should be doing this. Watching it at home, whatever. But going to the experience, you should at least probably be like 11, 12, 13. Yeah. Because it's a lot.
I think my son was like maybe like 14, 15 at the time when we took him. And I was like, because I, of course, knew the content. And I was like, not only did I wanted it to be age appropriate for him, but I wanted him to understand the bigger. Because if I was a kid, looking at all of that visual stimuli.
If I was a kid, I would have been like, whoa! Yeah, I would have not gotten it and been freaked out.
But like, I wanted him to be able to understand like the messaging behind that, especially as a young kid growing up in this time where everything is so hypersensitive and social media and all that kind of stuff. The bullying and all that kind of stuff, to see that there is not only a film or a piece of work out there that kind of embodies the not being normal side of life, to not only see that, not to only see the cast as like the camaraderie between the cast, but then to see the culture of it, I think is the bigger message when people see it. Because when you're watching it at home on TV or whatever, you don't get that so much. I mean, you see it in the cast, you see it in like all the extras and stuff, and it feels like a family that Rocky is built behind him. Right. But when you actually come to the theater and you see people mouthing it, you know, line by line, you see people responding on cue to certain responses that they're supposed to give out to you guys, the cast. I think it builds for people who are witnessing it for the first time to see like it really is like a culture.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like
you said, it's a lifestyle.
We put the cult in culture.
So when
that shirt.
That shirt.
I have a shirt that says that.
Oh, that's cool. So when you guys joined, did you guys get to pick the characters that you're playing? Or has
Yes
that
no.
evolved?
It's
over
evolved.
your-
It's evolved.
Okay.
Yeah, so our audition process is like you have the application and you pick one role that you're going to audition as.
Okay.
But the way that we do is that you're not pigeonholed into that one role. Like you're not stuck in that forever. Thankfully, because when I auditioned as Magenta.
Okay.
And you can ask Ryan because he was there. I am a god awful Magenta.
She ain't a Magenta.
Like not like
She just ain't.
literally in my audition they're like, no.
Bitch,
like
you ain't a
they're like, we
Magenta.
like you and you're great.
You're-
but like no.
You're a Columbia.
Yeah, and like,
she is.
Yeah.
I'm a Columbia, and like I play Magenta maybe like once a year now. So it's
Yeah,
like
it's Columbia playing Magenta.
yeah, so it's like you join as one role, and then you kind of get to like after a while like spread your wings. Like everyone starts as one of the Transylvanians.
Okay.
To like get used to being on the stage, get used to like especially with this stage like the setup of it because it's really funky. I don't know
It's
if you've seen
different.
it
It's
yet.
different.
Yeah, I haven't
It's
seen it
different
yet.
than we're used
It's
to.
a little wild, and then they're able to like start like some like the smaller roles, so like Trixie in the beginning, which is the lips,
Yeah.
or like Cram and Dr. Scott. Then they do like typically the role that they audition as, and then they do that a few times, and they're able to like branch out. And like the ultimate thing is like you build up to playing Frank. Like no one starts off as a Frank.
Absolutely.
Like it's kind of like you like build up to it, like you work your way. And also like with your first time playing Frank is like such a big deal. It's like you wouldn't want that to be your first role.
Yeah.
Like that's like hitting like your peak in
Yeah,
Rocky
yeah,
Horror
yeah,
is
yeah,
playing
yeah,
Frank.
yeah. It's like the piece of resistance. to
Exactly.
play Rocky.
So it's like we definitely have that like little bit of a system.
Yeah, yeah. So how about you're tech.
Yeah.
Have you ever
no, he
been?
performed.
No, he's a
I
performer
perform-
too.
Yeah, no, I'm a.
He's both.
I perform now.
Okay.
I joined as a tech, and then a couple of years goes by, and I auditioned to play Riff, and now I play Riff and I play Brad, and then Eddie every now and then,
Yeah.
and Transy. No Rocky though. I will not play
Yeah.
Rocky.
Rocky. You
We're
don't
working
wanna
on
do
And I haven't built up to Frank yet.
I'm working
Me
on
too.
that one too.
Yeah, I got dragged into some roles, but when I was young, I was still kind of closed off. So I really pigeonholed myself into Brad, because I was Brad. I mean, I still kind of am. I mean, I like a stranger in a strange land.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's who I was. I mean, I'm a straight cis male. I know who I am. I've never really had any doubts about that, and I've always identified with Brad, and I take the part pretty seriously. But I've played everything. I'm playing Frank tonight. I play Frank probably once a month. I play some Riff, some Eddie, some Dr. Scott. I mean, I've done it all. I mean, I got too fat to play Rocky. Well, from my standards. From my standards.
I say the same thing about
Everybody's everybody else, but me, I hate myself. So, but Brad is a close place in my heart, and Barry Bosbick gave me marriage advice, and he did, and and tonight I'm going to be the ghost of Tim Curry. He's not dead.
And I'm playing Brad tonight.
You are.
And I'm playing Brad.
Oh, you're playing Brad too.
I am. Yes,
Okay.
I am.
You on stage?
I'm Trixie tonight.
Oh, word.
Word.
So, like, how does that work? Do you guys how many people are in the cast?
25 right now.
Okay. So, do
That's
you guys
kind of low for us, actually.
do you guys like rotate the parts,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
make it fair for everybody?
Yeah, so we have 25 people on cast right now. Some of them are our techs. So
Just text, yeah.
We put 15 performers on stage typically each week
Okay.
between all of the roles, and we have a rotation system. So.
We have 4 Transylvanians every week.
Yeah, so we have a rotation system, so everyone like gets a chance to like play each of the roles, and like we follow the rotations as much as possible, obviously, because like I'm in like 8 out of the 11 rotations, so like it kind of like makes things a little spicy, but it gives everyone a chance. And then when people feel ready to move into a new role, as the performance director, they come to me. I direct them to where to go for costumes, for training, things like that. And we try to be like really open with giving everyone a chance to do like what they want to do, like
Gotcha.
within reason. Like you can't join one day, next day you're like, I'm playing Frank, like relax.
Yeah.
But like, and because also with that, like we don't pigeonhole anyone into like, oh well, you're a girl, so you can only play these parts.
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
all very gender bent and gender fluid, and we have a lot of people that identify as things that wouldn't match their character. So it's just kind of like, hey, you might not look like you would be good at it, but like you're pretty damn good at the part that you're playing.
Yeah.
I do the same thing with the crew. We all rotate parts
Yeah.
because when I joined, I did spotlights for a year straight.
It had nothing to do with that.
Every Friday it's highlights. And then when I eventually became head tech, I implemented like a rotation.
Maybe I put a bad guy in charge. Whatever. Water under the bridge. I've grown.
But I think that's really insightful for people who don't necessarily realize that it is like a production.
Oh, it is.
Very much
exactly
so.
like
It's not just like a bunch of like
people take it for granted,
like who are uber fans.
And if you watch it set up, you'll see how much of a friggin' production it is. It takes a village.
Anybody here in theater at all, or
I
not
did theater
presently.
in high school.
Yeah, like in high school. But
This is my theater.
Every now and then
This is
I'll work in theater. I work in an off-Broadway theater in New York right now. That's just like that's something that I do.
we have some theater people on the cast.
in the cast.
Oh yeah.
Just because I was wondering if that kind of lent to like the experience, like people branching off.
It helps.
To like being in a show. I mean, like having an opportunity to be in a situation like this, a production like this, where you're able to or given the opportunity to try on all the different hats. I think is a good way for people to like who are wanting to get into kind of some type of theater, to try on different roles and personalities.
Yeah. So when I market it to new people, I go, listen, this is community theater on steroids. I go. You're doing a show maybe 2 weeks. We're doing it 53 shows here. That's not counting the outside shows with our agreement with Rutgers, with our with other college bookings, with bar shows we get. Club shows, weird random venues we get booked. We're booked to do a wedding appearance next weekend.
A roof.
Well, it's the roof of the Asbury Hotel every year.
Nice.
So we tell people like, listen, if you want opportunities, stick around. We got them.
Yeah. No, I mean this is a great avenue for somebody who wants to like, because then they can even if they wanted to like get involved in like the tech side of things if they had a desire to do so, it's like an all-encompassing opportunity for people. And hearing you guys talk about it, it's very much like I'm glad that you guys are talking about how there is a big production value that goes into all this.
It's an operation.
For me, in terms of theater, it was kind of the opposite for me. So I got into Rocky around the same time that I tried doing high school theater. I couldn't do high school theater. Like, I have such intense stage fright.
Really?
In stage shows. I do.
Imagine that. And you're going to see a lot of it later.
It's really weird. No, like, to be, like, in a play, I just could not do, like, I ended up being in the crew for most of high school because I just couldn't do it.
Nice.
But, but, like, there's something about what we do that's so different, like I hate being in front of crowds, but like I could do it here because like I'm literally as someone else. Like I'm in front of a crowd as Columbia. Like I can do anything.
Yeah.
Like when I'm dressed as Columbia, like you can't stop me.
Yeah.
Like I'm fucking crazy. Like I'll do anything. But there's something about what we do that is just, I don't know. Maybe it's just more comfortable, something like that. I could not like if we ever did the Rocky Horror Show, like I'm sitting out. Like I can't do it.
I could do it tomorrow.
I think the obvious thing that separates us from a normal stage show is how involved our audience is every show.
Yeah.
We put a show on for the audience. Like the crowd is in the show.
Yeah, they're in it.
We use them for
in
everything.
They're props.
We sit on them.
We sit on
chairs.
them.
Props. They're extras.
I beat the shit out of one.
That's not true.
Sorry.
That's not
take
true.
it down now.
We don't want to start a rumor, all right?
But no, I think that's what people would want to, who have heard, some of the things and haven't actually gone to like a live cast show.
Yeah.
Those are the things that they kind of want to it's built up to be.
People
So
exactly, yeah. Like maybe you were afraid in high school doing shows because there seems to be like a wall at the lip of that stage separating you from the audience.
There's also a pit I was prepared to dive head.
Yeah, well, that too. But here, there's not that wall. There's not that disconnect. We're one community.
People make that comment a lot. They go, "We like that we feel like the cast tries to make us a part of the show. That the cast goes out of their way to really drag us in and make us feel welcome." Because we've had other people we've gone to other shows and been like, "Man, there's that wall."
Yeah.
There's you stay the fuck over there. No, we're not like that. We're like, fuck over here.
Yeah.
We're like, I don't have a chair. Who wants to play the
who
role
could be
of
a chair?
And people run up on stage and they're like, I'm going to be like, be chairs.
Right now we have enough chairs, but broke some chairs one night. Who wants to be a fucking chair?
We have people literally like diving over
sitting on some 80-pound kid.
Now, how many people do you guys usually pack in for a show?
All depends. So we are rebuilding here because when you're 14 years in one place, everybody knows, and we moved, so we're still getting the word around. We spent a lot of time, money, and energy to let people know that. So average time of the year, it's like 40 or 50. Theme nights, it'll be a lot more. When we do special shows, it'll be like 80, 90. Halloween, you sell out.
Sure.
And the thing is what's rough is we're doing this weekly. Not a lot of people do it weekly anymore. Weekly is only really sustainable in huge markets. New York, LA. Those are the only two huge markets that sustain weekly. Because there's a couple reasons for that. One, it's hard to sell people on a 44-year-old immersive movie experience when they can just look at these things all day.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here. I could send dick pics, or I can
receive dick pics.
I can go to an interactive experience. And one of the other caveats is when people know something is every week, the mentality is, well, I'll go anytime I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what if it's like you have this, like when we do outside shows, they sell it. Rutgers sells out because here's your opportunity. You got to go. It sells out a week before. But when you establish yourself, it's like the local bar. People just know they come. So it's October, so it gets a little busier. So tonight might be a little busier. The other problem is we got a bigger theater. We left a 120-seat art house theater. And now we are in a 206-seat theater. It's a lot bigger. Yeah. So we're trying to find we really tried to innovate how we use the space. We've gotten really creative, and we really want people to be, together like it's a black box theater. So you'll see how we do that.
A 20-page blocking book for a reason.
Yeah, we're really relearning some things. So when you do the movie in the same place for so long, I knew every inch of that theater with my eyes closed. I knew it better than my house. But like here, we're still learning. We learn
How long
something
have you guys
week.
been here?
The second week of August. So
wow.
it's
pretty new.
Yeah, we're celebrating our first Halloween here in a few weeks. We're psyched, nervous.
But you can't pick a better. The area of Red Bank is.
That's what we're working on. That's what we're going with that. Because people are like, you're in Red Bank. We're like, yeah.
It's better than when it's like we're in Aberdeen and people are like, what is that?
Yeah, people are like, that place with a couple old Jewish people. Like, yeah. But
there's a diner and a strip mall. It's kind of weird.
Red Bank has more culture.
Yeah.
And we bank on that. It has more drunks, too, but more culture.
Well, yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah,
You don't even know.
We've had some close calls so far, but we're all right.
Have any of your students know kind of what you do?
No, they do not. Very few of my colleagues know about it. Yeah, I got 5th graders.
Okay.
So that's what it was funny when I was first applying for teaching jobs. Like I was applying, not hearing back, and we were in Aberdeen, and the Aberdeen High School had an opening, and I was just like,
nope,
can't do it, because Eric may come to the show and be like, Miss M, oh shit, gotta go home. I'll go pack up my classroom now.
I think your teacher was at the show that I saw today.
Yeah, no, that would definitely. So I was just like, if I get really desperate, if there was nothing else, it's like I'm gonna have to. But then I got the job I had at the time, and I was like, because I also teach up north, so it's not in the same area.
Gotcha,
I thought about that one.
So a little far removed.
Yeah.
Awesome. So guys, I know you guys have to get ready for your show, and I don't want to keep you guys up to get into makeup and costumes and get everything situated, but I really wanted to thank you for allowing me to come and speak to you guys, because Rocky Horror is something that is near and dear to my heart. It is part of my life. My family, we watch it all the time, and I try to pull as many people as I can. So having this podcast, it was just we were talking before about why do I do this podcast and what it's about. It's just about shit that I like and shit that I want people to be exposed to, or that I want to find out some things. So I thought it was a great opportunity to try to reach out to you guys and sit down, so maybe we can have some people watch this and come out to the show.
I sure hope so. Every single Friday night.
Tell them in the camera right now.
Every single Friday night at the Bowtie Cinemas on White Street in Red Bank, New Jersey. We're doing Sunday the 20th and 27th at Rutgers on the Livingston campus. We're going to be at Adams Fest in Westfield at 9 and midnight next Saturday the 19th. Wherever.
And what I'll do is I'll put all like the links to the shows in the comments of this video so everybody can check it out, get tickets, especially if you wanted to come for Halloween.
Tickets are on sale now.
And it's going to sell out quick, so get your tickets now. And thank you guys for coming out to the Unnormalized podcast.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This has been your host, Frankie A, with the Unnormalized podcast, and get unnormalized. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Get it poppin' cause we fresh to death. Half a meal on this grill and I'm all in, yes. Let the skills pay the bills. I'm out for mini skirts, big checks, and cheap thrills. Fresh to death. You get it poppin' cause we fresh to death. Half a meal on this grill and I'm all in, yes. Let the